Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to be back again at the webinar since we have more news regarding the law changes. So we'll be happy to present you. I have with me Dr. João, who is specialized on companies and commercial department, and he will be with me in this webinar to explain a little bit more detail about the other options of the Golden Visa. Right, Dr. João?
Yes, thank you, Cristina. That's it. I will try to explain some of the aspects of the new conditions to the Golden Visa. And so
we're just going to tell you how it's going to be our agenda. So we're going to make a brief presentation about our law firm. And then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about the future changes in the law for the Golden Visa program, of course, and what will happen to the applications already submitted. Since we have already it was already voted for the final globality, we have the final text that is going to the President of the Republic, okay? So Dr. João now will make a brief introduction of our law firm, and then we'll continue discussing the Golden Visa issues.
So good afternoon once again. Like my colleague Cristina said, we're here to discuss some new aspects of the new law proposal for the Golden Visa. And let me just quickly present Dr. Cristina. She is an associate lawyer in our law firm at Caiado Guerreiro. She has lots of experience regarding immigration laws and immigration dealings. And me, I'm a trainee lawyer at Caiado Guerreiro. I've been at Caiado Guerreiro for a bit over 2 years, and we will try to simplify and to explain the new changes the new proposed changes to the law. About our law firm, we are a multi-jurisdictional law firm. We provide services in all areas of law, and we have lots of experience in the most diversified areas of the law, both in practical terms and more in theoretical terms. Because we've been around for some years now, we have gained lots of awards and recognitions from various different enterprises. Some of them are relatively and really known, such as Legal 500 and Leaders League and Chambers and Partners. And once again, in 22-23, we were recognized by some of these entities. Here are some of the testimonials from such entities, such as Chambers and Legal 500, as well as some of our private clients. And regarding our laws, our areas of practice, like I said before, we are a full service law firm, so we provide services in every aspect of law in a practical way. The one that will interest us the most today, because of the Golden Visa aspects, are immigration law, foreign investment, and also corporate and M&A, due to some new types of investment that someone that wants to obtain the Golden Visa can make, and that's what we'll try to explain as clearly as possible.
Regarding here specifically our immigration department, we presented a brief introduction. Nowadays, it is vital to understand the different needs of clients on a personal, family, and professional level. That's why we have all the services for different types of residents here in Portugal. So Portugal offers different options for immigration, making it sometimes seem like an easy process, but whose rules are and confusing, bureaucratic, and time-consuming. That's the part where we get in the process. In recent years, Caiado Guerreiro has provided legal advice to international clients, including large companies, government, and individuals. We frequently deal with complex legal issues and restructuring projects, having an excellent relationship with the Foreign and Border Service and other public bodies. which is not easy sometimes, I must confess. Our multidisciplinary team combines local knowledge and relationship with the global reach of our services, providing expert advice on the requirements and procedures for the entry, exit, and removal of foreign nationals from the national territory, as well as the entry and stay of citizens in foreign parts. So we help both sides on different legal matters. So moving on, golden visa. Let's talk about what we came for, right? So in that phase, in what phase is the new law at this moment? So basically the more housing package, which is inside, which the golden visa law is inside of it, okay, the more housing package of laws was approved on 19th of July 2023, sorry. At the time we were giving also a webinar regarding the law changes, if you remember, many of you. So in a final global vote with PS, who is the party that's on the power, okay, has a majority in the parliament, so he decides this kind of situation if he wants to change it, of course, in favor. PAN, who's another party, and LIVRE abstained, and the other parties voted against. The majority were from the right side. So we do not have a definition of right and left side of parties, but some of them are considered more right and some of them are considered more left. So the right voted against this law, but because PS has a majority in the parliament and has a majority, so he can approve a law even without the consent of the other parties. So basically what we have here, which is, I believe is very important to this discussion, is the numbers. So as many of you know, the golden visa is here since 2012, sorry. And CEF provided an official data of the number and the amount of investment that has been made since October 2012. So as you can see, it was considered 12,396 permissions, residence permission throughout the golden visa. Most of them are from China, the other from Brazil, USA, Turkey, and then South Africa. And there were transferred capitals in order of a lot of billions and billions of euros. Sorry, this is a very large number, so it's around a lot of billions. So basically, this is the results of the investment made throughout the Golden Visa program, which it will clearly show that this kind of investment is very, very good for our country and benefits our economy in many, many ways. Not only the real estate acquisitions, which gives money to the Portuguese state because of the taxes and the costs that having a house and buy a property here has, but also for the jobs that has created directly and indirectly throughout every type of investment of Golden Visa, not only funds, not only creation of jobs, but the other types of Golden Visa. So this is very, very important for us to see, and thankfully CEF has all this information and is public knowledge, so you can consult it. Moving on. So basically before and after the new law, what is going to happen? So we know for now and for sure, since we have the final draft, of course, not everything is still very certain because we still need the signature of the President of the Republic. Now we are hearing that he will proceed with the approval. He has changed his opinion, but we don't know yet if he's going to really approve it or not. But basically, if he approves it, if the law goes as we have now the final text, because this is the only step remaining, right? All types of real estate investment will no longer be possible. This is very important. We already spoke about this in the other webinar, but it's important to retain this. So acquisition of real estate with a value equal or more than 500K, it will be not possible after the law is published, okay? So we will not have a time after the law is published, will not have vacatio legis, will not have a time that the law will become applicable. No, the law will become applicable as soon as it's published. This is very important also, okay? Acquisition of real estate with whose construction has been completed at least 30 years ago or located in urban rehabilitation areas in the value of 350 also will not be possible with the new law, meaning that every variant, for example, the 400K instead of the 500 in the interior or in the low density areas, the 352, 280 in the low density areas, even that sub options will not be possible. So every type of acquisition in real estate will not be possible, will not be golden visa eligible with the new law that is approaching, okay? So other type of golden visa acquisition, which it was also used, but not everyone has heard of it, is the capital transfer in an amount equal or greater than 1.5 million euros. It will no longer be available. This had changed, right? It was only 1 million, but then the law changed. And then for 2023, 2022, instead of 1 million, it was 1.5 million. So that option will also not be possible, okay? But we will have other options. Thankfully, we will have options. The golden visa applications possibility will maintain. The golden visa resident permit will maintain, but with other options. And what options will it be? Investment in the public and private sectors. So we're going to explain after which type of investment will be possible and eligible for golden visa, okay? So we'll have now basically, generally speaking, because we have sub areas, okay, but we have the 5 main options for the golden visa. Let's proceed. So the first one will be, we have here all summarized and we'll explain a little bit one by one, okay? So you'll get to know a little bit of the types of investments, get familiar, and in the end, ask for our legal services, of course. We'll help you with the details. But you will understand and know basically the first ideas of each investment. So it will be creation of at least 10 jobs, capital transfer in amount equal greater than 500K, investment artistic production in public sector or private sector, acquisition of units of non-real estate collective investment institutions, incorporation of a company with registered office in Portugal. This all seems all complex, but it's very clear when we proceed the explanation, okay? So basically the creation of the, sorry, just a moment, yes. Basically the creation of at least 10 jobs. It was a type of golden visa that already existed, okay? It was granted a few dozens of this type of golden visa, not much. I believe it was a little bit about a knowledge of it because people knew only the main types of investments, and I think it's going to be now a great opportunity with this kind of investment. The creation of at least 10 jobs, as the name it says itself, you have to celebrate 10 work contracts, 10 employment contracts. Of course, the employees have to make all the deductions for the social security. Everything has to be duly legalized. And the creation of these 10 jobs, proving that you're self-created. You can even create by a company, correct, João?
Yes. Sorry.
What type of company would it be? For example, if I'm an applicant and I want to have this kind of golden visa or others.
The possibility that the law provides is a single share company, which is a very easy and simple way to implement and to incorporate a company. And it's also a type of company that we advise our clients to incorporate, should they wish to incorporate a company in the simplest way possible. And the law also provides for that. This new proposal also provides for that sort of company. And basically, the main advantage of that sort of company is that the person that will incorporate the company and that will become the partner of the company is the single shareholder of the company, which means in a more simple way that that person alone will take and make all the decisions that he or she wants the company to take, as long as, obviously, as long as they are within the legal boundaries. But because there is only one shareholder, one partner, that means that you can basically decide on your own, and you can also separate your personal responsibility from the responsibility of your own company that you've just created. So it's a simple and super effective way to conduct your business, and it's a sort of company that we advise to our clients whenever they wish to implement a simple company.
Perfect. Thank you so much, João, for your explanation. So having a golden visa application, you can make it through yourself as a single person, or you can create a company as a single shareholder of that company and then apply in that status of shareholder. And of course, you have to join all your personal documentation. But it's important for people to know that you can make the application through a single company, which you are the only, not one of it, but the only shareholder. So regarding the other type, which is, it will be now also eligible, be the capital transfer in amount equal or greater to 500K, which is applied in research activities carried out by the public or private scientific research institutions integrated in the national scientific and technology system. Basically, you will invest in a research project which is duly certified by the government, okay, and by the respective ministry, that will provide an official declaration of that investment being eligible for golden visa, okay? It's not any random investigation. It's something duly authorized by the Portuguese state. He's in a public, for example, public institution. It's common used to fund investigations, scientific or medical investigations, and then it will be granted because that project is pre-approved by the competent entity and then is approved by the entity of the state, which will give you the confirmation that that project is golden visa eligible. And with that initial investment, you can go out throughout your whole golden visa, okay? This is very important. You don't have to make the investment of 500K every year or every 2 years, no. You just have to prove that you maintain that investment. That investment is for that research. That's why the timeline and the duration of the research is also important for us to show the Portuguese entities, foreign entities, to approve your golden visa. Now let's move a little bit more detailed about the other 3 options, okay? So the number 3 option, it will be investment in artistic production in public sector or private sector with public utility, meaning that you can transfer capital of 250,000 euros or 200,000 euros, depending if it's a low density area, okay, that's also a possibility, which is applied in investment or support of artistic production, recovery, or maintenance of the national culture heritage through central and peripheral direct administration services, public institutes, entities, and we are receiving now a few of your questions. I'll make a brief pause to answer your question, okay, Mr. João? With public utility status, intermunicipal entities that integrate the local business sector, municipal associative entities, and culture public associations that pursue tasks in the area of artistic productions, recovery, or maintenance of heritage national culture. So basically, if there's an institution being public or private with the status of public utility that has a project, it can be from museums, it can be from musicals, music concerts, music projects, It can be from a foundation that is developing a movie, for example. It can be from association that's developing also a movie or also artistic shows. So all type of arts and culture can be inside of that. But just like the previous investment that we talked about, it has to have a project. That project has to have the approval of the competent Portuguese department. Okay, then after the confirmation of the investment by the private client, being a company like João explained, or being the person itself, a singular person. After the investment is done, the person gets also a certificate from the public department that has approved that project. And then with that, the person can apply also to the Golden Visa program. So regarding a question, of Jerome Desombre, is there a minimum amount of capital for the incorporation of a company? That's a very interesting. There was many years ago, but now you can make a company 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 euros. But of course, we recommend a little bit of social capital, okay? 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 if you prefer, just like that, or less, 500 euros, something like that. But something a little bit more substantial than 1 euro or 2, okay? And so moving on, number 4, which is the option number 4, acquisitions of units of non-real estate collective investment institutions. That one I'm going to leave to Dr. João to explain. I'm just going to give you a brief note that this already existed, okay? Investment, commonly speaking, investment in funds, okay? But we have a slight change, a slight difference with the new law that is going to be approved, okay? And Dr. João will explain a little bit more detailed this option.
Thank you very much, Cristina. So let's start by reading the new proposed law regarding non-real estate collective investment institutions. So basically what the proposal provides is that the transfer of capital of an amount equal to or greater than 500,000 euros, so minimum 500,000, intended for the acquisition of shares in a non-real estate collective investment institutions, incorporated under Portuguese law, of course, and whose maturity at the time of the investment is 5 years, and at least 60% of this investment is made in commercial companies based in Portugal. So I understand that this might sound a bit difficult to understand. I'll be honest, when I first read it, and I work in these areas, even myself, I was a bit confused because it's so much words in such a little amount of time. But let's debunk this new proposed regulation. Firstly, the investment can only be made to acquire a part of a non-real estate collective investment institution, which basically means, on the opposite side, that you cannot invest, you can no longer invest for Golden Visa purposes, you can no longer invest in real estate funds. Let's put it this way. There are more options than just funds, but let's make it simple and let's call it funds for now. So you can no longer invest in real estate, which means that you can only invest in securities, transferable securities. And I will try to explain a bit later what those are. But right now, if this law is approved, like my colleague Cristina said better than me, if it is approved as it is, you will no longer be able to invest in real estate funds. Secondly, this investment must remain in this collective investment institution, in which obviously the investor decides to invest for at least 5 years. This, I believe, this was already the case before, but this basically means that the investor will not be able to withdraw the money, to take the money out, invest it for the purpose of Golden Visa for at least 5 years. You need to leave it there for at least 5 years. And it also maintains, as it already was the case before, that 60% of this investment must be made in companies, commercial companies based in Portugal, which, like my colleague Cristina said, was already the case before. So having said this, you might be wondering what exactly is a collective investment institution. Well, I'll try my best to explain what it is. According to Portuguese law, these collective investment institutions, and for to simplify, let's call them OICs, which is an acronym for Organismos de Investimento Coletivo, which is how they are called in Portuguese. Let's call them OICs from now on. They are institutions with or without legal personality, whose purpose is to promote the collective investment of capital raised from investors. So basically, the investors invest in those funds, and the funds will then invest your money for you, because they are specialized in these matters. And of course, because they are basically investing your own money, their whole operation and corporate purpose is subject to core principles, such as protecting their investors, ensuring that the markets are fair and efficient and transparent, and reducing systemic risk. So making sure that the investments are made in different areas, so that if, let's say, an investment isn't as fruitful as it should be, well, at least you have other investments made in other areas. These OICs may take the form of contractual or corporate entities. Contractual OICs take the form of investment funds, which is the more, let's say, the most recognizable ones. The others take the form of investment companies in securities or real estate. Let's focus on securities because, like I said before, you can no longer invest in real estate. So, having said this, the non-real estate collective investment institutions can really be defined as these OICs who trade in transferable securities. And these specific OICs, they are basically, their corporate purpose is a collective investment of capital raised from investors, just like I said before, but in transferable securities or in any other legally prescribed, legally financial assets, which basically are assets that can be converted into cash or traded in the market without incurring in large costs or significant losses. These investment funds, let's focus on this and put aside for a bit the companies. These investment funds are managed by specialized professionals, which are the management companies, who follow the investment funds, who follow their own principles prescribed by law, and who will basically use all of their expertise to try and use your investment to the best way possible and make sure that your investment has as much return as possible. We at Caiado Guerreiro, we have clients that they themselves are investment management companies. So we have a huge and healthy relationship with these clients. So you can talk to us, and we will then in return talk to them to make sure which sort of investments that are Golden Visa applicable are the best ones and are the most profitable and most interesting for you as an investor. And basically,
sorry, just a brief note, which is important, and Dr. João explained it beautifully and clearly what type of investment this is. But the funds in this case, and now with the new law, okay, cannot be related with real estate investments, okay, directly or indirectly. This is not the interpretation that we take from the new law. No, this is an article, very, very clear, that says clearly that you cannot invest in a fund that is investing in real estate directly or indirectly, because if the foreign entities, when they analyze this fund, see that this investment is to invest at least indirectly to real estate construction, to real estate developers, call it as you wish, the Golden Visa will not be granted, okay? So this is extremely important. Just to answer a question about, yes, the family, it was here, but I'm not seeing it there. Yes, the Golden Visa maintains for family members also. Yes, you have the Golden Visa application for the main applicant, and then you can regroup your family. Yes, I can explain a little bit detailed in the end about that. So basically, this fund cannot be related with real estate investment. So moving on in the next type and last type of option of investment, which is very, very interesting. And I believe that is going to be explored even more, okay? Sorry, just a question about the funds, Mrs. Marina. Do current funds need to be certified by the government to be eligible by Golden Visa? No, it's a different situation, okay? It's certified, but it's a different certification, okay? That must respond to the legal requirements of that specific fund, because in these funds, you are not investing in the Portuguese state, you are investing in companies, okay? So the fund itself must prove that their investment do not fund real estate, or they don't have to say that, but they fund specific companies or which project is, etc. But this investment in funds is not related with the other investments that we talked, even because the outcome that you'll get from it, of course, these funds, this investment of 500K, you'll get some interests back, right, João? So you'll get some kind of income. You're investing money for other businesses. And the other two types of investments that we talked previously, for research or for artistic investment, that kind of investment is for the Portuguese state or is related with public investment. So it doesn't have the same return as this kind of investment in funds, okay? That must be clear about that. So it's like giving help to projects. The other investments, this type 4 acquisition of units of non-real estate collective investment institutions is different, is more capital, more commercial fund, which you are investing and you'll get some return from it directly, okay? So it's slightly different. Moving on to the last investment, because we don't want to be bored with our presentation. So we have the incorporation of a company with registered office in Portugal, or you have to reinforce the share capital of an existing company. So they changed that. So this law is slightly different. This type of golden visa has a few changes, not much. The essence is there, it's the same essence, the same nature, but it has a slight changes regarding the employees, which Dr. João will explain a little bit better what type of investment this is, okay?
Thank you very much, Cristina. I think Mr. Desombro, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. You were asking for the minimum amount of capital for the incorporation of a company. Well, for the purposes of Golden Visa, here it is, it's 500,000 euros. But just like this proposed article says, you basically have two possibilities. You can use this investment of 500,000 or more to incorporate a company. Well, you yourself, you create the company. Within that company has to have a head office in Portugal, and combined with the creation of 5 permanent jobs. Permanent jobs basically means
yes, this term is a little bit right. Permanent jobs. What is
exactly,
this?
Yes. Well, in essence, it basically means that you need to hire someone, in this case at least 5 people, and create 5 job vacancies that are supposed to be filled at full time and without term. In Portugal, there are, and it is the case in other countries in Europe, especially in the European Union, you have a lot of different types of employment contracts. One of them, which is the most favorable one for the employees, it's the full-time employment contract without term, which basically means that you don't have a specific date in which the contract, the labor contract expires. The contract is without term, which means that you don't have a date in which the employment contract ends. And that's what basically the Portuguese government wants you to do. If you want to invest in, for Golden Visa purposes, invest in a company with, to create a company of your own property with 500,000 or more euros. Apart from doing this and investing 500,000 euros in the company, you also need to create 5 job vacancies, which are employment contracts without term. Or in an alternative, you can also, and this is also foreseen in this proposed article, you can invest 500,000 or more euros in the share capital of an existing Portuguese company.
So this is a slight difference between the others. As we spoken before, you can only apply for Golden Visa yourself or throughout a single company where you are the only partner, the only shareholder. In this specific situation, with this option 2 of this type of Golden Visa, you can incorporate a company that is already created here in Portugal, okay? This company already exists. It's irrelevant the number of shareholders, the company already exists. And what are you doing there? You are making a reinforcement of the capital in the amount of the 500K, but you have this slight difference, correct, João?
Exactly. Let's say you decide to invest in a company whose share capital is around 5,000 euros. If you invest these 500 euros that you are legally obliged to, basically it means that the company will now have a share capital of 505,000.
500K. And in the creation of at least 5 permanent jobs or the maintenance of at least 10 jobs with a minimum of 5 permanent jobs and for a minimum period of 3 years. So this was a slightly difference, okay? It has to be or the maintenance of 10 jobs. This was a change in the law with a minimum of 5 permanent jobs. So within the 10, 5 must be permanent, must be a contract that the person is it's not temporary contract, and for the minimum of a period of 3 years. This is also required, okay? So basically you have these two types of companies where you can reinforce the capital or create a capital for the minimum of 500K. So basically is that situation. We have here also a question. How will SEF interpret, screen, and motorize the options for and number 5 upon submission? That is a very good question. SEF will find a way of making that inspection, but please be aware that all of these types of, mainly the number 4, the funds, they have specific authorities to whom they have to respond, okay? So they must respect a lot of rules to be created and to be granted the state of the funds, or technical things that we will not approach here. And regarding the company, of course, you have all the legal documentation of that company that proves how many shareholders, what was the amount of the investment, and you have to join that documentation with your Golden Visa process. It's called the Certidão Permanente. It's the history of that company. So you have over there the proof from the state that that person made that investment. So moving on. Basically, the application submitted before and the new law. We believe there's a little bit of confusion regarding people that already applied and feel a little bit insecure about these changes. As I spoken before in the previous webinar, there will be no retroactive effects, okay? The law will not affect old applicants. So the people that applied through the old law, which is still in course, okay, it's still applicable until the new law is published. People who applied before the new law are protected, their rights are protected, they can maintain their Golden Visa, they can even renew their Golden Visa, their authorizations. So they will not be affected with the changes of the new law, okay? They are protected by the old law, meaning that there are no retroactive effects of the new law, okay? That was discussed, it was in the table, but they took that option and very good, because it would make no sense and it would be unconstitutional, as I spoke on the first webinar about it. So the resident permits for family reunifications, also from that applicants in the old law, okay, will not be affected either. So people that had your child, that had the residence cards throughout you, that you are the applicant, will not be affected. Your child can still continue with her residence card throughout the regroupment, okay, through the regroupment. Applications for granting, they are still in course to be approved, okay? Because you have the applications already submitted and approved. And unfortunately, because the approvals take time, take a lot of months, you have still applications in course, and you will have it. It's something that it's very, very difficult to solve, because they need more workers at the services, but it will exist. So, and the renewal authorizations also in course, because there's a lot of renewing authorizations also in waiting for the approval. That are all valid and will be approved, okay? Even if the new law is already applicable, okay, they will be protected by the old law. So I think, I don't know if I have answered this question of Susanna. What is the minimum investment in artistic production? So the minimum investment is 200 in a low density area, meaning if the artistic project is in a low density area, is 200, or 250,000 if it's a no low density area, okay? So moving on, basically what I was going to tell you before we finish, which is also important, is to make here a brief see where we are at this point. So on day 19 of July 2023, the final text was approved in final global votation, okay? Meaning that now it will go, has a decreed assembly, it will go to the President of the Republic, okay? And the President of the Republic has 20 days to pronounce himself about this law proposal, meaning that he will have to sign it, okay, or have his right of veto, so reject it. And if he rejects it, he has two options. Either he sends it to the Constitutional Court because he doesn't agree with some article in the law that he thinks is unconstitutional, or he doesn't agree with some article of the law itself, and he has to make a good motivation and show the Parliament why he is not approving, okay? And then the diploma is sent back or to the Constitutional Court or to the Parliament. This is the options if the President of the Republic does not make the promulgation, okay, the signature of the diploma, okay? If he does, in that specific 20 days, if he does that in that deadline, then it goes back to the Parliament and it is published, and it will be in course one day after the publication, okay? So it will not have a timeline of adaptation, nothing. It will be in course. I have a few questions here. Matthew Adams, do you think this is part of a broader trend to reduce investment in immigration in Europe, or a focused reaction to housing issues? That's a very good question. Thank you so much, Matthew. I believe there was this idea that we have several proofs of it, because it's not a very true idea, that golden visa had some impact on the pricing of the houses. We don't believe that this is true, although this was the reason and the motive to say that the golden visa was going to end, and basically is now ending on the real estate investment, because apparently they say that the government says that it was due to the golden visa real estate investment that the houses are so high. But as many of you know and see in every place of the world, there's the increase of the houses, there's the house in speculation. So this is like economical cycles, it happens. And we believe that the golden visa has nothing to do with it, because the golden visa for houses since many years exists, more than 10 years. And now having this kind of argument, I believe it's not very fundamented and true. We have some other questions. We are now answering a few questions, of course. May I know for the option 4, Mrs. Catherine, will it be possible to invest in commercial real estate? Thank you. We believe every... yes, João, you want to speak?
Yes, sorry. No, basically, regarding your question, and thank you for your question, it is not possible to invest, no longer possible to invest in real estate for golden visa purposes. In fact, this proposed law specifically provides that the planned investment activities cannot be aimed directly or indirectly at real estate investment. So it's completely impossible from now on, if this is approved, like Cristina said, to invest in real estate, even if it is in an indirect manner. You can no longer do it.
Exactly. So types of real estate investments are not possible. But that doesn't mean if you want to invest in Portugal, buy a property, buy a store, buy an office, you can do it, of course. You are not forbidden. On the contrary, other countries, they have forbidden all types of foreign real estate investments, okay? This is not the issue. This is just for golden visa application. So if you want to invest in a property with the golden visa application purpose, that will not be possible. This is the only thing, but you can still buy a house, you can still buy a property that has that is not forbidden for foreign people, okay? So I believe we have finished all the questions. No? Do we have any other questions, João?
Yes, we do. I think this here from Miss Sara Correia.
Oh, okay.
How does the Golden Visa program align with existing international trade and investment agreements between countries, and how might it influence future negotiations? That is a great question. Well, obviously, feel free to interrupt me at any time, Cristina, but I believe that obviously, because Portugal is part of the European Union, they are bound to any legislation that is approved by the European Union. So let's say that the European Union issues a directive that proceeds to regulate some aspects related to this matter. If the current Portuguese law is not aligned with that, it will have to align itself with what the European Union wants. So that's just an example, but I don't know if you want to...
As you know, João, there was a lot of influence and pressure of the European Union to end the golden visas in all countries, okay? They're making a lot of pressures to end it because they think it's a bad investment, etc. But the truth is that the countries benefit economically a lot. And as I said before, it creates a lot of jobs. So I believe that is crucial, the foreign investment. But slightly related to your question, it's an important issue that is also a change in the law, okay? So the general conditions to grant a temporary, for example, permission, it means it has now a slightly change, but we are talking about temporary, okay? We're not talking about permanent, but this is very important because this can also be relevant. So it can be refused, the concession or the renewal for nationals of third countries that the European Union have restrict measures, okay? So this was a change in the law also for the granted of temporary residence, for example, a visa. If a Schengen visa, sorry, there's a lot of visas, a Schengen visa. So if in a situation, a specific country, the European Union has some restrictions, it can communicate to Portugal and not grant, for example, a temporary visa, okay? So this is also important to speak about. Of course, we are inside the European Union. We must follow all the rules of the European Union also, okay? So that is important. I think we have finished or not. For the fund, so the last questions, we don't want to make it any more boring for you, sorry. But feel free to send us an email, have the questions that you want, okay? Catherine, for the fund options, what are they can choose and invest? So there's a lot of fund companies, there's a lot of types of fund investments, okay? And can be in the commercial area to finance companies. There's sustainability funds also, agriculture funds, We have now a lot of offer in the market for green energy. That is amazing. So funds to invest in green energy also, okay, sustainability. Sorry if I'm not saying the term correct, but it's also very, very now in course, this type of funds. So you can choose many, many options of funds. You can even invest in specific companies as long as throughout the fund, okay? And the requirements are all fulfilled, of course. So I believe we got to the end. As soon as the law is approved, okay, we don't know if it's tomorrow, we don't know if it's in a few days. The thing is that he has the 20 days, the President of the Republic, but as soon as the law is approved or not, if he doesn't want to approve it for the reasons that he will expose, of course, we will inform you, okay? We have your emails. We will make you a follow-up about the details and to really, really, really know, because we are very anxious with it, when the law is going to be published, okay? We'll inform everyone. So thank you so much, João, for joining me. Thank you so much, you, for joining us, for assisting in our webinar, and we will keep in touch with you. We'll inform you about the latest news, okay? Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.